All right, here with John H. Lilly, coach of the Independence Patriots and state champions. John, I know you like that. One of the reasons that was is because you had a great linebacking core last year, but you go back in your career, you were at Shady and Woodrow previously, you always had good linebackers. You had 4 All-Staters, first team at Shady, 4, maybe 5 at Woodrow. You had 2 here with Jordan Harvey twice. Why do you think you were able to get good linebackers? This is almost linebacker U for double-A schools.
Well, one, you're just lucky to have good kids. But, I played linebacker, and I had good mentors, with Marvin Williams and Tom Farrell. So, I've always had good people teach me, and I've always migrated to linebackers as a coach. And I think it's identification, being able to identify. I look for lines. Lions don't eat grass. Lions will die before they eat grass. They want meat, So, I look for the guys that's aggressive by nature, and I want them to be able to move. I want them to have some agility about them, and I want them to be on the ball. So I'm really looking for dudes that, are aggressive, and they're aggressive by nature. And, they don't be satisfied with getting the ball. They want to get to the ball, and they want to get there in a bad mood. They don't want to stop on the whistle. They want to stop on the echo of the whistle. And, I look for those guys first, and I try to identify them in the 6th and 7th grade, and then once they get up here, we can start, putting them in those situations. A lot of times, I'll put people at linebackers nobody else would. I put at linebackers, because I'm looking for certain things.
Phase 1, Shady Spring. You had some good guys there. Let's talk about those guys and how it all started with developing linebackers.
Well, I had some good ones. Brian Knoll and Matt Huffman. Good thing about those 2 guys is they're both like 6'3", so, and they could run and they could move, and they're smart, and they could call the defense, and they can make the adjustments and do those things. We had Shane Meadows over there, who's very good, and of course we had Chad Ritchie end up playing at Marshall. All these guys end up playing college somewhere in some sport, but they all had one thing in common. They don't eat grass; they eat meat. So whether they can run, all this stuff. Basically, you can't be a good linebacker if you're not going to eat meat. If you're going to eat grass, you need to go be a defensive back.
I don't know where you find these things, but you always have good ones. I always enjoy that.
But I believe that. If you're going to eat grass, you go play defensive back. But
these are great.
We want you to eat. We want to eat meat. Jordan Harvey's going to eat some meat. He ain't going to eat no grass. And that's the mentality you got to have.
Well, your guys at Woodrow ate some meat, and one of those, Adam Parklow, was the Huff Award winner, and you always, at the time, talked about, how important the linebacker was to you. Your sons played for you, both were, Troy was a first teamer, Max was a second team All-Stater. What did you do there that kept you reloading the linebackers?
Well, the thing is how we teach them, and I don't want to really get into that because every coach has their own way of doing it, and one's not right and one's not wrong, but we feel like we teach it a certain way. And the biggest thing with linebackers to me is just keep it simple. If they're having to think, they can't get to the ball, and if you can't get to the ball, you can't make plays. I've coached with guys that want to have 2 and 3 reads, and that slows them down, and doesn't allow them to play. So we really keep it simple, but we do a lot of eliminating false steps, and we got certain things that we teach that tries to get you to the ball as fast as you can.
Was that period marked by the fact you were fortunate to coach your own sons in a position that you played, in a position that you've coached so well? That had to be a highlight for you. Just your career, no matter where you're at. That was.
Yeah, I think anytime you get to coach your sons, man, it's hard. It's hard on your sons to be a coach's son. It really is.
Was it hard on them?
It was hard on them. It was harder on Max than it was on Troy. And things people say and people do to them. But on the flip side, it's very rewarding. We're very close, and we still do everything together. And this year I'll get to coach with him at least 1 year before he moves on and does his thing. But the biggest thing is some of the things that we do scheme wise allows them to get to the ball and do some things a little easier.
Did you have you changed things up every year in regards to scheme and what you do to allow, or is it basically the same thing you started at Shady or continuing?
No, we've always been a 3-3, 53 base type team. We went to a little bit of 4-3 there for a while because we just had so many good defensive linemen. We had to get them on the field. But most of the time, in the 2005 team that was really, really good and had Parker, Lowe, Peters, and Lyons. Lyons was 6'5", 215. Peters was probably the quarterback of the defense, and he's a bully. He's a weight room junkie. Him and Max are probably the only two linebackers that's benched 400 for me. And then of course you had Adam, who was the player of the year on defense that year, and he's 6'4", 6'5". So same exact defense that we played this year. It's identical. There's no difference from that 2006 defense than what we've done the last 3 years here in the defense. So.
Then you come to here, you have Jordan Harvey, who first team All-Stater last year, was captain of the first team defense. Just really a kid that I don't think he had much fear. He didn't care playing injured.
No, he's a dog. One common denominator that I've left out is every one of those kids are like 4.0 kids. They are smart, and they knew the defense. They could probably call the defense, if I let them, but they were all 4.0 guys, 3.5, 4.0 guys, So, all of them. Darius Law might have been the most aggressive, one of the most aggressive ones we had. I'll tell you a story. Ahmad Bradshaw, who played for the New York Giants, we're playing Graham. They won the state championship that game. We was having a hard time stopping them. So we come in at halftime and, we're beating our head against the wall, and we just finally said, Law Dog, wherever Bradshaw goes, you go. It's really simple. If he's up in the bleachers eating popcorn, I want you to punch him in the mouth. In the second half, he shut him down, and we end up winning the game. So, it's really just having smart guys.
That kid was a beast too. It's not easy to shut down.
No, I coached him also in the spring league when I was with the spring league coaching down at the Greenbrier, and when he was still with the Giants trying to get to the Colts, I think, or something like that. But either way, he's a stud.
Last year's linebacking core, I think you had Chandler Johnson, you had D. Heights, you had Jordan Harvey.
Right.
Is that one of the better groups for what they were able to do? I don't know if you could even do it, but is that one because of what they did statistically? Give up 3 touchdowns, I think, all year. Well, it's on the whole defense, obviously.
Yeah. They, the two guys on the outside, Miller and Karan, allowed them to do what they did, and we had a 6-man rotation with the defensive line, meaning, we never had the same 3 defensive linemen in there. We'll go 5 reps with these 3, and then 5 reps with these 3.
It's more of a 3-5 type of thing.
Yeah, it is a 3-5. It's evolved. At one time it was a 53, then it was a 3-3. Now it's more of a 3-5. But the basic concepts.
Karan and Miller were like rush linebacker type.
No,
edge.
No, they're you got to be able to play a little bit of man with those guys, And then back in those days, we had 2 outside linebackers also that allowed us to do that. Back in 2005, we had those guys too. So
where do these guys rank, and for what they were able to do? You won a state championship.
Well, they're integral parts of what we've done. We've gone back-to-back state championships. So, you don't do that without a great defense. Everybody wants to talk about how great the offense was, but, we all know, and everybody knows, and all coaches know, you win with a great defense. So they've allowed us to be able to do what we do.
Now you lose Chandler Johnson and you lose Jordan Harvey, first team All-Stater. You do have D. Hypes back. Who are the next crop of guys coming along?
I'm real high on these guys. Landon Riddle's going to be good. He's a big, tall, lanky kid. He's a weight room junkie. He's only in the 10th grade. He's going to do nothing but get better. We got Landon Phelan. He's going to be good. We've got Dylan Ritchie. Dylan Ritchie will probably play in the middle.
And his dad
played for me, and Dylan's 6'4", right now about 220, skinny. I mean, he can hold 240. You know, that's a goal for us to get to 240 by next year. They all love lifting. They all love working. You know, you see these guys. We're not doing anything today, and they're up here running on their own, doing things. But you know, we got some young kids we like. You know, Alan Dixon. We like him. I think he's going to get to play a little bit. So those inside linebackers are pretty good. But you know, we're also happy with our outside linebackers. So, you know, Connor Bradford on the outside. You got Links on Tyler Linksweiler and Silas Nelson. We got some guys on the outside too.
Yeah, just a plethora of guys.
Well, they work hard, Dave. I mean, you know, everybody says you're spoiled, and we are a little bit. But let's be fair, them guys work, man. You know, they get.
Well, you don't get better not.
You don't, and they're here every day. They don't complain. You know, win, lose, or draw.
I guess the proof's in the pudding because look what you did last year with those guys.
Yeah, it's like playing football.
Hey, John, I appreciate it.
Thank you.